presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
We welcome you to St. Petersburg, Florida, and Rays baseball on a Wednesday night as the Rays have played more home games than anybody in baseball. Tonight they continue with this 10-game homestand. So far 5-3 despite losing the first two of this 4-game series to the Boston Red Sox. Matt Andriese will be on the mound tonight for the Rays against the Red Sox Rick Porcello. Todd Callis alongside Orestes Estrada and Doug Wechter. More casual today because it is a special show.
I love it.
This is demo day. This is where we teach you everything about the game of baseball or softball, whatever the case may be.
That's right.
And Doug, you're going to talk about what tonight?
I'm talking about pitching, my specialty. I love it. We're going to go through some grips, going to go through some fundamentals of your delivery, and just overall pitching as a whole.
And in the hitting department, you're going to have some great demos from Coach Shelton, some of the players, myself. I'm going to talk about stance, balance, take back, and even the follow through of your swing. So important. And right now, one of the guys is doing a great job at the number 2 hole, and that is our very own favorite green-eyed guy, Kevin Kiermaier, is doing a fantastic job stealing, getting on base, hitting the ball. I love what he's been doing lately, especially when he gets on bases.
So I'll come here, and then I'll get my lead, and this is my initial lead right here, and this is what I feel comfortable, where I can give myself the best chance of stealing a base and also getting back to first in case that pitcher gets over. So this is my comfortable lead right here. For me, I try not to have any wasted movements, and I did this a couple years ago when I was speed training, and I start with this arm up, which looks very unorthodox, but just watch me how I break it down. So when I say I don't want any wasted movements, that's with my arms and my legs. So my first move when I steal is this, and I'm already in my run. My arms and my legs are already in the running form. In years past, what I would do is I would have this arm up, and I would have a wasted movement in there somewhere. I can't even do it anymore because it just doesn't feel right. But you have to tinker with certain things because, like I said, we're all different in our own little ways. So for me, the key for me to get my best start was my arm up here, because my first movement, I'm already in my running form when I go, and that's how I've become more successful at stealing bases, because that first step is huge for me. So like I said, I'm here, and I have my weight pretty balanced because I have to get back, but I'm thinking go. So when that pitcher goes, I'm ready, and I'm in a good running position, and I feel athletic with that, and that works for me.
Kiermaier leads the Rays in stolen bases. We will hear from, amongst others, Corey Dickerson on timing and tempo as a hitter. Derek Shelton's going to talk about hitting as well, the Rays hitting coach. Throughout the game, you're going to get lessons from different players and coaches, including the Rays pitching coach, Jim Hickey. It's our special broadcast known as Demo Day. It all starts right around the corner as Dwayne and B.A. join us next.
Sports Sun brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer, celebrating 75 summers of living 4x forever. By Furman, the Bay Area's first name in Chevrolet. By Lazy Days RV, your RV authority. And by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Homestand continues tonight, Game 3 of the series between the Rays and the Red Sox. Rays 5-3 on the current homestand. We'll be back with all the action right after this. Tonight's Wednesday Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. And Andres on the hill for the Rays tonight after his 7th win of the year, making his 13th start and trying to put a stop to an 0-3 record over his last 3 starts as he faces the Boston Red Sox tonight. Starting lineup for Boston, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Dustin Pedroia leads off at second, followed by Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop, and David Ortiz hitting third, the DH. Mookie Betts, the cleanup hitter, followed by Jackie Bradley Jr., then the catcher, Sandy Leon, Brock Holt, Travis Shaw, and Andrew Benintendi rounding out the lineup for John Farrell.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Matt Andres making his 13th start of the season. Record 6-5 ERA, 3.66. Got 91 innings in, 74 strikeouts, and with 95 pitches thrown in his last outing, he is fully armed and ready to go as long as he can go here tonight and be effective. Let's take a look at the Rays defense and see how it's going to line up behind him tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in that outfield left to right, we've got Corey Dickerson, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. And across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Matt Duffy, Logan Forsythe, and Logan Morrison, with Bobby Wilson behind the plate.
Well, Dustin Pedroia stepping in to start this game. Boston starting the day tied with Toronto for first in the AL East. First pitch of this game is a strike call at the knees. Fastball from Andriese, so we are underway. It's a bit low. 1-1. At 1-0 in his career against the Red Sox, spanning 3 appearances and 1 start. And a base hit, punched the other way into right. Returned to the infield by Steven Souza Jr.
Really nice job there by Dustin Pedroia, staying inside that baseball and punching it the other way. Here's a fastball, not quite getting to the outside corner, but look how Pedroia stays inside of it. Little inside out swing and shoots it the other way. You know, we've talked an awful lot in this series about Mookie Betts moving into the 4-hole because of how productive he's been. Well, Dustin Pedroia moving up into the leadoff spot has done a really nice job up there for John Farrell.
Yeah, to the point where he's among the top 10 in the league in hitting and setting the table for the rest of this very effective Boston lineup. Their tops and runs scored, a start and stop by Pedroia. And here's the situation. Andriese on the hill has been charged with 4 balks this year, and the opposition 11 of 11 running against him. So there are times when he is a little uneven out there on the mound.
And so expect opposing base stealers. This is being scouted by advanced scouts, and guys are going to go out there and they're going to test him. You know, they know that he doesn't have a wipeout move from the mound. So you can afford to go out there and take a normal lead and then start the start and stop, just trying to get his attention, to get his focus off of what he needs to do to be successful.
That's a strike. Fastball to Bogaerts. Against this lineup, you need as much focus as you can garner. Pedroia leaning back toward first, in there easily.
All they want to do is make Matt Andriese aware of them. Pedroia may have no intention of going. He may go. But one thing he wants to do is make sure that Matt Andriese knows that he's over there.
It's 1-1. David Ortiz looming on deck.
I was going to say, like you said, though, when you think about this lineup, you're dealing with Bogaerts right now. You've got this guy looming on deck. You've got Mookie Betts behind him. There's a lot of issues throughout this lineup that require full 100% concentration.
Runner goes. Pitch is fouled, out of play, and up the right side into the stands. Well, when you look across the board in the major leagues for run production, you're looking in the right place when you search out this Boston lineup. First in runs, average, on base slugging, and with men in scoring position.
Yeah, that's the big one. All the other numbers very, very impressive, but on top of that, they're clutch. They get guys out with runners in scoring position, and they lead the charge there too.
Down 2-2, and the guy on deck and the guy who follows him, a big part of that run production machine. David Ortiz hitting .361 with men in scoring position. Mookie Betts following him, hitting .352. Full count to Bogaerts. So Pedroia with a leadoff single to right, over at first. Andriese carefully working Bogarts has gone to 3-2. Runner goes, and this one is fouled out of play again up the right side. So twice Pedroia has been on the move, that time with the count full. He was headed to second.
You know, this team not known to be a running team, but you can see here already trying to push the envelope a little bit with Matt Andriese. Dustin Pedroia has worked a couple of throws over there to first base. He's been in motion a couple of times.
He's on the move again. Cut and a miss. Throw down. Fades. And safe. Pedroia in there at second base. For a moment it appeared that fading throw might actually help the Rays cause, but Pedroia beat it to the bag.
Well, and the thing is too is this is not an easy pitch to handle for Bobby Wilson, but Pedroia, you know, his jump was coming from such a short lead that you thought the Rays had a chance, and you wonder if that glove there of Logan Forsythe very close to grazing the back right there of Dustin Pedroia, but he heads, watch him read the throw and now dive towards the inside part of the bag away from the throw, and that's really, really close.
And the
really
Rays
close.
Trying to decide if they'd like to have that play at second base looked at or not.
I mean, did he graze him there? Because the hand's still not to the bag.
Well, they're going to take a look at it.
Yep. Yeah, because that hand of Dustin Pedroia, the wrist stayed cocked as he's waiting for his hand, the palm of his hand, to get to the bag, and the fingers were up in the air. It gave Forsythe just a hair longer to apply that tag, and the Rays think that he did.
Well, they're showing an overhead shot on the big screen here, and there it is.
Is it in contact? That's the thing. It was almost grazing. That's where that 2D, 3D comes into play.
Yep. And the ability to maybe look at another shot to determine whether there was a tag actually made, because the hand was not near the bag at that time. But did he graze the back of his jersey?
So in New York, the umpires right now are doing a 2-box.
Yeah, that's the idea.
I love it. Maybe a 3-box.
Yeah. I mean, it's a technical savvy operation.
Very fluid.
Yes. So the Rays hoping to have this call overturned, and already they're looking at every angle they can find, apparently, in New York. The Rays, by the way, have a winning record in challenges, 61%, which would give them the 6th best in the majors. There's the look, see? And not on the bag, still not on the bag, and did he tag him there? And I think the Rays have a pretty good shot.
I think they do too. Look at the hand. The hand, the palm going into the bag, that fingers are still off of the bag. The glove, if they determine that he touches anything right there, that hand's still not on the bag. See the palm.
So this is one of those frame by frame decisions, apparently.
And here we go again as Dustin Pedroia comes in.
Well,
hand up.
Rule safe.
Well, right there. Okay. At the end of the day,
stands.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't confirm that. There's no way to do that.
So 2 minutes and 27 seconds to render that verdict.
If I would have drawn sooner, they would have seen.
Yep, there you go.
Blame that on myself. Jeremy, it's not you.
David Ortiz, and he shoots one deep into right. That one is going to get out. 30th home run of the year for David Ortiz. And after that long layoff, Ortiz hits the first pitch out. 2-0 Boston. That gives him 100 runs batted in. 30 homers and 100 runs batted in this year for Ortiz.
And he gets it on a first pitch curveball that he was able to read out of the hand of Matt Andriese and got enough of it. Souza Jr. giving chase to no avail.
He bets to the pitch down. 1 ball, no strikes. 34th home run Ortiz has hit here at Tropicana Field, more than any other visiting hitter. That's a strike to Betts, 1-1.
And that's what has hurt Matt Andriese. You know, his last couple of starts now, in his last, oh goodness, last 10 2/3 innings, he's given up 7 home runs. Now this was in giving up 4 home runs in his previous basically 80 innings. He did a great job of keeping the ball in the yard, and then he had a start in New York, gave up 4 homers in 5 innings. Last start against the Rangers, he gave up 2 and 5 in the 3rd, and then already 1 here tonight in the 1st.
Ground ball deep short, backhanded Duffy. Throw to first is wide. That's a base hit for Betts. So 3 hits here in the inning. The big blow so far, the David Ortiz home run to give him 100. Those runs batted in. At 40 plus in a single season, he's trailing now Dave Winfield and Harold Baines, moving past Darrell Evans with 1 swing of the bat, going from 98 to 100 with that home run.
And he should obliterate that record number of 108 as long as he stays healthy. His production, this lineup, where he hits and how good he has been this season. His last, allegedly.
Hard to believe with this kind of year he'd say see ya, but that's the stance.
If I was him, the next off day I would call a press conference. I would, you know, tell all these teams I'm returning all of the gifts and I'm going to get it after you next year. Period. You can have your gifts and I'm coming for you.
Yeah, I'll give you your gifts.
I'll give souvenirs to all your fans.
Yeah, that's it. Well, he's done that quite often here at Tropicana Field, as we mentioned. He's distributed at least 34 souvenirs with those home runs here at Tropicana Field through the years. And a strike to Jackie Bradley Jr. One and two. Long look, time call now as Bradley steps back. Swing and a miss, throw down to first and back in Betts. Bradley Jr. strikes out with the second out, both coming via the strikeout.
And Andriese taking care of some business there on Jackie Bradley Jr., blowing the fastball by him. 1 out away from getting out of this inning right here. Face Sandy Leone, who's done a heck of a job for the Red Sox, both behind the plate and in the batter's box, in both batter's box.
Now switch hitting catcher. This is his 49th game of the year. He's put up some good numbers a .375 average, and has collected a fair amount of extra base hits as well, including 7 home runs, 2 triples for this catcher, 13 doubles. First pitch is a strike. A 2-run first, now a man at first and 2 outs. Play.
You know, we've been talking here recently about ways to speed up the game, and I'll give you another way to speed up the game. Develop a batting glove that doesn't need to be retightened after every pitch.
Absolutely,
it's every pitch.
That is one of the more irritating idiosyncrasies of the modern game. That and walk-up songs.
Well.
Foul ball back of third.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that angle from you anywhere. What do you have with the walk-up
Everybody has to have a walk-up song.
Well, here, no, timeout, timeout. Let's readjust.
There you are.
3 pitches, 3 adjustments.
Have a walk-up song and then readjust the batting box.
But at least walk-up song doesn't affect pace of play.
It depends. You know, some guys wait until it begins. They won't leave the on-deck circle until it begins.
Well, okay.
Move that along.
Let's get a clock on. Yeah, but the batting, I'm telling you, develop a batting glove that doesn't need to be readjusted after every pitch. Now, this was a pitch taken. Will we do it? No, we won't. There's no movement.
I'll tell you, if we could invent a batting glove that was comfortable for these hitters the whole at bat,
yeah,
we could make a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
That. Get the little laugh going.
And a cut and a miss. Leon out on strikes, clean strikeouts in the inning for Matt Andrees. But a 2-run home run by David Ortiz, his 30th of the year. 2-0 Boston. Boston out in front. The lineup for the Rays presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Forsythe leads it off, followed by Kevin Kiermaier and Evan Longoria. Brad Miller, Matt Duffy, and Logan Morrison, who's at first tonight down the middle. Steven Souza Jr., Corey Dickerson, and then Bobby Wilson.
Taking the mound tonight for the Boston Red Sox, right-hander Rick Porcello, the 17-game winner, making his 26th start.
Pitch to Logan Forsythe is a strike. Well, Porcello has been everything and more the Red Sox were looking for when they added him to their rotation. Last year, 9 and 15 and this year 17-3.
You know, and last year, the only year in his career that he has not had double-digit wins in a season. And you remember when they got him, they immediately signed him to that extension. He goes 9-15, and everybody goes, "Oh, you blew it." I mean, all this money for this guy, and then look what he's doing this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's been very special in this Boston rotation. There's a shot to center field. Bradley Jr.'s there to make the catch. Well, our inside look here, presented by Toyota, and here's the comparison and the contrast from one year to the next. 4.92 ERA, 3.22 right now, and 17-3. Jay Happ and Rick Porcello with 17 wins, leading the major leagues.
And most of his damage done at Fenway.
Yeah,
you know, when you
unbeaten.
look at the numbers, it across the board, pretty incredible what he does in his home ballpark.
Yeah, he's 12-0 there. Here's Kiermaier sending a fly ball to center off the 0-1 pitch, and Bradley Jr. is there for this one.
Let's take a quick look at the Boston Red Sox defense, brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in the outfield, left to right, we have Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts. Across that infield, third to first, Brock Holt, Xander Bogaerts, Dustin Pedroia, and Travis Shaw, with Sandy Leone behind the plate. That's a well-worn hat, too. That's a gamer hat. Got the salt ring going.
Yep, I love that.
Oh, you know, I've kept a lot of my hats through the years, and that's how I used to wear mine. Just I would have a gamer.
Is that just another thing that I loved when you pitched?
Well, let me tell you the problem with it, Wayne. Those hats today, you can smell from down the street. It's remarkable.
That's part of the flavor of the game, don't you think?
You've got to shave them. You've got to trim them for every now and then. I mean, it's a lot of sweat, a lot of hot afternoons, and muggy evenings.
Yeah, it has its own little culture in more ways
Truly,
than one.
truly. You can't petri dish it.
That's right. 2-2 here to Evan.
I was thinking about submitting mine for testing.
Sure.
Maybe it can cure something.
Let's send it back hermetically sealed. Couple fly balls here to start the Rays half of the first. The fly ball into left. Then Intendi is there toward left center. 3 up, 3 down, go the Rays. We head into the second. 2-0 Boston. Inning with the Rays double play season ticket offer. Fans receive the lowest price and can choose from one of several can't-buy big league experiences, including a chartered flight to Miami to see the Rays play or a dinner cruise with Kevin Kiermaier. How about that? So turn to double play and call 888-FAN-RAYS to talk to a Rays specialist today. Brock Holt takes that first pitch for a strike. There's a high chopper. Andriese retreats off the mound. Quick release and a nice little gentle toss to first, and they get Holt.
I'm going to tell you something. Being in that position before for Matt Andriese, that's unnerving. It's unnerving because there's nothing you can do except wait for this ball to come down. Wait for it, wait for it. Okay, now you know you got to get rid of it. You don't have a lot of time. He called it like a fair catch and then made a nice throw over there to Logan Mortensen.
You know, we talk about that all the time, how pitchers sometimes have trouble throwing the ball to first base. You know, tonight, a special night on our telecast because there's a lot of great information still to come on the finer points of playing this game. And Doug Wechter, a big part of that. Talking with him before the game, we're talking about pitcher on the mound and locating within the strike zone. And he admitted throwing to first base, coming off the mound, unnerving to him on a throw to first.
And that, yeah.
Really? He goes, oh, yeah. And he said, believe me, and if he had to go and turn and throw to third, all bets are off.
Forget it. Down the left field line into the.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that fascinating because your job is to stand out there on a hill and be able to throw the ball up within an inch of where you want it with different grips, spins, speeds, movement, but yet throwing to a base with a big giant target, you struggle or it makes you, you know, a little uneasy.
Travis Shaw out on the foul. Pop there, caught by Evan Longoria. It's amazing because you're in the big leagues because you're one of the few human beings on the face of the earth who can do what you do and locate a pitch 60 feet 6 inches to a hitter. Aren't many people, special people, do that. And then you go, oh no, I can't throw the ball to first.
Our first baseman right here, Logan Morrison. He's 6'4", 225. Got a wingspan.
Yeah.
He's a big giant target.
Yeah.
A lot bigger than the strike zone. A lot big. I mean, I mean, I find that fascinating, but it's absolutely true because I've seen it. You know, with every team I played on, you have at least one guy who really struggles throwing to the bases. Sometimes more than that.
You know, and Doug made an interesting point about the throw to second. He said he could get a little rhythm going to throw to second and coordinate his body with the throw. Somehow, so different at first and really different going to third. So there you are.
I want him demoing that. I want him to demo it.
We got a lot of great demos coming up.
We do. I can't wait. I can't wait. This is going to be a very, very informative night.
Yeah, and if you've got a young player, baseball, softball, in your home, there's a lot of great information coming. We've seen some of it already. There's some on the pregame. There'll be more throughout this game. I think these are special telecasts that we've put together, and so it's something that will be not only entertaining, we hope, but informative as well. Swing and a miss. That's going to take care of Boston. Fourth strikeout for Andriese. 2-0 Boston.
Here at Tropicana Field, the Rays are down 2-0. But here come the Rays, and here comes one of their hottest hitter all summer long, along with Evan Longoria. It's been shortstop, first baseman, DH, Brad Miller. And a couple of things that, Brad, you're going to look at for is the way that he sets up. He sets up, and he likes to get that hand up high. In fact, he'll drop his bottom hand, then place it. Why? Because he wants to come down with that swing. He gets a combination leg lift, boom, down. Right there, you see he's swinging through the pitch right there. But one of the things that he's been really good about is the low pitch down and away. So he sets up high, leg kick, timing, coil, and everything comes down to get that backspin. And he's very, very good about low, away to hit it to left center and center. He's hit a couple of those massive blasts. Not this time, but I tell you what, I'll take my chances with Brad Miller anytime with that beautiful down, up to down swing.
Yeah, and you know what's been impressive too is with that leg kick. You know, he's got a high leg kick, but very rarely do you see him get that off kilter. You know, I mean, you with a high leg kick like that, there comes some trouble from time to time. But for the most part, he's been able to keep those hitting mechanics in line all season long, and that's why right now currently sitting at 25 home runs and, you know, counting from there.
Well, Miller caught looking this time, and the first pitch to Matt Duffy is a ball. There's a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, you know, guys, the thing that I find fascinating with him really is that now he's also been hitting the inside pitch, because really for a while it was really middle away, but now he's kind of also turning with power on the inside pitches, because the league is kind of figuring out and going, okay, we go middle away on this guy. He's got that nice Japanese kind of almost timing. He coils up, comes down, gets a slice, and he literally, this is a hard thing to teach a kid. So even though this is demo day, I will say, kids, this is kind of hard to teach, because you're almost slicing the ball and getting that spin. The science of more spin on the ball creates farther hits. And then, so what is the league doing? Okay, well, shoot, we're going to come in on you. We're going to end up trying to, you know, pitch him a little tighter. And what he's been doing lately, he's been turning on the ball. There's the slice. You see how he gets that little boom, and he literally almost like a tennis racket swing. And then now they come in on him, BA, and when they've been coming in, he's going, okay, I could get Reggie on you and square up the ball and hit it 400 feet straight away right. So that's where I think it's really accumulating home runs, because you guys start pitching him a little differently.
Well, there's Matt Duffy with a base hit. Ground ball deep in the hole. It's short. Bogarts got over there, but could not make the play, and Matt Duffy has an infield hit.
Matt Duffy, the 5-6 hole, becoming a favorite of the Rays shortstop, and he gets another one there. Well, that's interesting too, with Orestes, you know, talking about that leg kick and that ball that's away. You know, we talk about Brad Miller, how hard he hits the ball, and how he's got power foul pole to foul pole. We've seen him hit a number out to left field, and Orestes there kind of explaining the science behind it. That bat down and through creates the backspin. It gives you the carry. Now you no longer have to wonder why he's able to get those balls out to left.
Well, 25 home runs this year for Brad Miller. And now here is Logan Morrison giving it a ride to the deepest part of the ballpark, and it's high off the wall. Extra bases. They'll stop Duffy at third on a long double by Logan Morrison. He picked the deepest part and still hit it high off the wall. Didn't have quite enough to get it out, but boy, you try to hit it out there, it's a long way.
Well, it's angled out there, and there you talk about some spin, creating some spin on a ball that's away, and look how close. Right out there in that little angle. Here's Matt Duffy trying to read it. He sees it up, sees it's going to get by. Now he's off and running, and Charlie Montoyo was back down the line, making sure he holds up. Matt Duffy right there did not want to challenge Bogarts. Out there's the cutoff man.
Well, one of the reasons Logan Morrison's in the lineup tonight, he came in 6 of 16 in his career against Porcello, and the very first pitch he sees tonight, he shoots it off the wall in deep center. Steven Souza Jr. fouls one out of play for a strike. So big opportunity here for the Rays. Men at second and third and one out after Boston put up 2 in the first on the David Ortiz home run. ball, 1 strike. Ball, 2 strikes.
This is where Rick Porcello will be gunning for the strikeout. You've got second and third, 1 out. You need to create an out, an unproductive out with no movement by the base runners. Best way to do that in a 1-2 count is what's your best strikeout pitch.
And he goes up and strikes out Souza with the fastball up.
You know, Rick Porcello, I know he's giving up some balls in the air here today, but he can get a ground ball with the best of them. So you get a tendency to look down in the zone, and then all of a sudden he raises it up around the letters, around the eyes, and Souza Jr. vacates the strike zone, and he does get the punch out.
You know, that's one of the things about Porcello that's really interesting. Here's a guy not consistently overpowering, but he's a smart guy out there on the mound.
Yes,
And
very.
I think that's a great example right there.
That kind of stuff stands out now. You know, guys who are savvy on the mound can sequence pitches, get you leaning, bust you in, get you to reach away. It's the art of
Dickerson.
You know, you have the art of hitting.
Yep.
There's the art of pitching also.
Absolutely right about that. And you know, there are reasons. I mean, number one, he has an aptitude to begin with, but in Detroit, he was over there with Verlander and Max Scherzer. He was in that rotation, and he was a great student and learned a lot from those 2 guys, and has incorporated all of that into his own approach to pitching. So there's a lot of smarts that goes into what he does, and he's smart enough to listen and have some veterans which he can learn. One ball, 2 strikes, the count. Leone out there spending some time with Porcello. Duffy at third and Morrison at second. Dickerson does have a home run in his career off Porcello, 3 of 10 off him. The home run. Down right now, 1-2. Fouls a fastball.
We've seen a more concerted effort by Corey Dickerson as teams throughout the season, you get to 2 strikes and they try to climb the ladder, and he's doing his best to be able. We've seen him get some hits up there on balls he typically has not been able to get to, even fouling that pitch off, trying to somehow protect against that spot where pitchers try to exploit.
Dickerson protecting, staying alive. Pitch off the plate, but not taking any chances. Fouled it. Bobby Wilson on deck. Ground ball right side. Shaw with the pickup and makes the play unassisted. Rays threaten, leave 2, trailed by 2 through 2. The third. Tonight's game broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome and salute you and wish you a safe and speedy return home. Top of the order for Boston, Dustin Pedroia. 1-0. Pedroia opened the game with a base hit. He scored on the home run by David Ortiz. 2-0. A strike. Bogart's next, then Ortiz third. One. Coming into play tonight for Andriese, lefties, left-handed hitters batting only .218 against them, and right-handed hitters .258. That is ball 4. Pedroia waited to make sure the ball was going to be a ball, and he walks to open the third. Gets Bogarts to the plate.
Yeah, and the big reason why is Matt Andriese, what he tried to do to David Ortiz, roll that curveball in there for strike one to jump out ahead. Didn't work against David Ortiz, works against a lot of other guys. And then also the changeup.
Yep. And
the way that he can manipulate that pitch and the different ways that he can get that pitch to really fade or even appear to break.
Well, you look at the Red Sox lineup tonight. Bogarts takes the pitch inside. The top 4 right-handed hitters, and then including Leon, the switch-hitting catcher, everybody else following left-handed. And those left-handed hitters coming into this game are a cumulative 1 of 11 against Andriese. So that stays right with the numbers overall for him for the reasons you just mentioned.
Well, he's had one start against the Red Sox, and that was end of June last year. And it was, well, one of his better starts he's ever had. I mean, yeah, obviously he had the shutout, but 6 innings, no walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 hit, no runs.
Yep.
It's about as good as you're going to do against this lineup.
He gets it in on Bogarts and pops him up. Longoria makes the catch for the out. Well, his lifetime numbers in that one start, and if you add 2 relief appearances to that, 9 2/3 innings with 4 hits, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts and 1 walk coming into this start. And here is David Ortiz, the most seasons with 30 home runs, 30 plus, and 100 runs batted in, or 100 plus. Babe Ruth had 12, David Ortiz 10, joining Lou Gehrig, Hank Aaron, and Albert Pujols. And here's Ortiz now with the 30 homers and 100 runs batted in, coming on the 2-run home run in the first. Strike 1 this time. He hit the first pitch for the home run in the first inning.
And there it was. It was the curveball. It was out over the plate and had enough elevation to it that Ortiz was able to lift it out to right center field, something that he does very, very well. You know, he finishes that swing up, you know, he down and through the baseball with tremendous lift. That's what leads to all the power and therefore the production.
Fly ball. Kiermaier keeping his eye on that one to make the catch. And back to first goes Pedroia. So Ortiz retired in the 3rd inning. You know, you think about that 100 RBI figure. The most 100 RBI seasons in Boston Red Sox history belongs to David Ortiz, surpassing Ted Williams and Jim Rice. Williams 9, Rice had 8. Bobby Doerr, Jimmy Fox, Manny Ramirez had 6. Carl Yastrzemski among a number with 5 100 RBI seasons for Boston. Here's Mookie Betts. Pitch is a strike. Betts reached on the infield hit in the first. That followed the David Ortiz home run. Betts started the day the 4th leading hitter in the American League. Runner goes. The pitch is a ball. The throw down. Not in time. Pedroia picks up a stolen base.
Well, he's able to get him again. Now teams 13 for 13 against Matt Andriese in the running department. Boy, not the biggest of leads, but a pretty good jump. Bobby Wilson, good catch and throw guy, and still not able to get him. He comes out firing. Pedroia gets that left hand in.
Two and 1 to count on Betts. Pedroia 7 of 9 in the steal department now this year. Ground ball through the right side. It'll be charged by Susan Jr. Pedroia is going to try to score. Throw out in front of the plate. Now they'll have a runner hung between first and second. And Forsythe grabs that throw and races him down to tag him. So Betts is out, but he drives in Pedroia to make it 3-0.
Rays 3-0 so far tonight. Demo day. Want to talk a couple minutes or a couple, maybe 15 seconds, about how to combat the run game. First thing you can do to combat the run game, we've seen some stolen bases tonight, is when you come set, don't lose focus on the man on first base, okay? You can even open your arms and open your chest just a little bit, slightly. When you come set, you don't want to look to third base. You want to come set with the visualization of the man on first. That way you know how far of a lead he's got. Secondly, if you are going to throw over, when you throw over, come straight up by the ear. All right, that shortens your arm throw, and it also makes it more accurate throw, which, by the way, boys, I was pretty good at pickoffs, just not fielding. And they never went to unearned runs.
No, see, again. Yep. So wait a minute. So you could be up on the mound.
I could.
Looking over your shoulder, And I mean quick footwork, hand to ear, and throw a dart down there to first base, right where you need it to be.
Oh, right
but
on
couldn't field a ground ball and throw it over there.
I could put it right on those gloves every time if I needed to.
It makes no sense.
You bunt a ball to me, those are 2 unearned runs going right by. No chance I could get that guy out.
I mean,
you gotta love it.
Yeah, that's even better. It's one thing to be able to make a pitch and not throw to bases, but then to be able to make a pickoff, which, by the way, is not easy. I mean, you're looking over that shoulder. Your footwork has to be perfect. That, like he said, the hand to the ear is the key because that cuts down on time. And short, bullet over there. And the fact that you can do that on a dime, and then with the struggle with the bunt, I mean, that's something else.
Yeah, but great advice with the hand to ear and then the throw from there. And the guy who was a master at that was James Shields here.
And it was because it started with footwork. You break contact with that rubber with quick feet, like dancer's feet, and then what Doug said, which is absolutely the next thing in line is that hand. You can't have the long loopy arm swing. The hand's got to come to ear almost like a catcher.
Yep.
And then dot it.
1-1 the count to Logan Forsythe with Bobby Wilson at first.
I do love his transparency. Full disclosure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I would expect nothing but that.
Right?
Yeah. That's the kind of guy he is. Well, it's been fun, entertaining, and informative here so far.
There's a lot of good information that throughout this entire game, and we've seen some of the clips. Even that little bit right there from Doug and the hitting stuff from Orestes. It's a lot of little nuggets to put away to think about. This would be the game to tape. You know what I mean? It would be the game to DVR, to do all of those different things.
Then you can just edit us out.
Yeah.
And go right to
the demos.
The good info there in the demos.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's what no need for us.
We're going to have Jim Hickey coming up next half inning, talk about changeups.
Oh,
on the changeup.
Beautiful.
That's fun stuff. Here's Kevin Kiermaier. Runner on with 1 out. Kevin shortens on the bat. Takes that pitch for a ball, 1-0. Kiermaier, a couple of hits last night, drove in a run. The only run the Rays had, and then in the 8th inning, double to right out, trying to stretch it into a triple for the 2nd out of the inning. And there's a shot up the right side. And I heard some of Kevin's comments afterwards, and I think he was second guessing himself a little bit. It's hard for me to second guess him trying to go to third last night. He was thrown out, but I would say go for it.
Yeah.
Almost congratulate him for that attempt.
That's him.
Yeah.
He wasn't reckless. It was, you always talk about, well, you don't want to make the first or the third out there. It was the 2nd out, and the Rays needed to do something, to try and make something happen. The offense was stagnant, and right here, he's going to force a perfect throw from Mookie Betts. Off the short wall, he picks it up, and then look at him step and get into that. That's just a perfect throw, and that's what he had to do, and he still barely got it.
There's a base hit into right, 1 hop to Betts. Bobby Wilson advances to 2nd, and Kevin Kiermaier's aboard. 2 on with 1 out. The Rays put together another threat here in the 3rd. They missed a scoring opportunity in the 2nd. And now with Kiermaier's base hit, moving Wilson to 2nd. 1 gone. Here's Evan Longoria. Evan hit a fly ball to left his first time. Going outside, the breaking pitch. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. Having 9 hits and 36 at bats against Porcello coming into this game. Keeping on. 1 out, a 1-1 count. And he takes ball 2. Just off the plate. On deck, Brad Miller.
Yeah, he's trying to make the perfect pitch there, because the difference between, 1-2, 2-1, doesn't want to leave it out over the plate.
Foul ball back. He had a good cut.
That's
got the fastball.
And that's why the previous pitch is such a big one. Because if it's 1-2, you can expand the zone. 2-1, you got to come back over the plate. And he's very fortunate that Evan Longoria, those have been pitches that Evan has been hitting hard.
A miss. So a big strikeout for Porcello.
And you see what he did there. Now that he got the count back to 2-2, now he's going to expand. So now 2-2. Let's go a little further out, a little further up, and force Evan to reach for it. And not able to get it. I'll tell you, there's been a couple of times here tonight that Rick Porcello really could use a strikeout, and he has been able to get him. Typically not his game. He's more of a pitch to contact guy. He'll strike out guys because he does have good stuff, but when he needs them, he has that ability to go and get them.
Well, how about this matchup? 3 home runs, 3 hits for Brad Miller against Porcello, all home runs. Fastball starts him, strike 1.
And I'll tell you what, you go back to the first at bat, and Rick Porcello has been challenging Brad Miller with the fastball right out over the plate. Risky strategy. See if it works.
Well, he's keeping them in pretty good spots here on those first 2 pitches. He's thrown nothing but strikes to Miller in the first 2 at bats.
And just challenge stuff. He's not trying to be tricky at all.
Foul back. Up in the zone. The very top.
And that's a confident pitcher. You watch Sandy Leone go out there to talk to him. They turn. Rick Porcello is the one that was doing the talking, telling Sandy exactly what he wants to do right here as he heads back to the mound. That's a guy who's got a plan and feels like if I execute, they don't have a chance.
A ball, 2 strikes.
And really, you can understand. You look at his last 5 starts and what he's been able to do, giving up 23 hits in 39 innings. He's almost averaged 8 innings a start over his last 5.
Been away, so these last 2 pitches, well, off the zone. 2-2. Count is full. Well, it's been a great year for Rick Porcello. American League wins leaders Jay Happ and Rick Porcello topping not only the AL but the major leagues. Chris Sale with 15. How about Chris Tillman going on the DL in Baltimore?
Starting pitching has been an issue for them. They could ill afford that move.
And a hot shot, fair ball up the right field line. Wilson on his way to the plate. Kiermaier will follow him home. It's a double for Miller. And the Rays right back in this thing, 3-2. Brad Miller shoots a double just fair by first and up the right field line.
Well, really, the inability to come up with a quality pitch in an 0-2 count. 2 fastballs that missed badly, a changeup that was in the dirt. Now you're forced to come back in the zone. And Brad Miller has seen enough of you, enough of your stuff, knows you have to be in the zone. You can't afford to walk there. And just what Orestes was talking about earlier, you want to pitch him in. He has shown that ability to get the barrel to the baseball and be able to pull that pitch, and he keeps it fair.
Miller with his 24th double. Now it's second for Matt Duffy. And a high curveball. Ball, no strikes.
And they run that pitch count.
Duffy with his infield hit in the second inning. He's still looking for his first extra base hit. Takes another breaking pitch off the plate. 2 straight curveballs, and it's 2-0.
Taking a little bit of an extra long walk there. Had to work very hard this inning. Approaching 20 pitches per. Couple more.
Tapper, that'll be foul. 2-1.
And this is for a guy who, over the course of the season, has been very efficient. And we talked about those last 5 starts. The record 4-1, ERA just over 2 at 2.08, and in that span, averaging just over 13 pitches an inning. That's why he's been able to get out there and average almost 8 innings to start. Not on that pace here tonight. As the game has moved on, he's had to work harder and harder.
It's now 3-1. Rays with 3 hits, a couple runs here in the third. Good count for Duffy. And that is a strike. Just a little part of the zone. And it's now 3-2. Logan Morrison's on deck with a history of success against Porcello. Big 3-2 pitch. And that strike 3 call on the outside corner. Rays get 2. It's now 3-2 Boston through 3.
Going to leave your hand slower simply because there's more contact with the ball. The more fingers that you have on the ball, if you will, the more contact you have with the ball, the slower the ball is going to go. I highly recommend fastball changeup, especially to the younger pitchers in that 8, 10, 12-year-old age range.
Back on the top of the fourth inning, I love what Hickey said there. A couple things that he said that really stood out to me. First, for a good changeup, it's all in your arm speed. You're not going to slow your whole delivery down, much like the tendency of a young pitcher. They think changeup, they think, all right, I got to make sure this pitch goes slow. That's wrong. The best changeups you have ever seen, or I've ever seen, Pedro Martinez, Jamie Shields, these guys are throwing it violently. They're trying to let that pitch go as fast as they can, which creates a lot of action. Another thing that creates a lot of action, the follow through. You have to follow through on this pitch. You have to have the release point out in front. If it's not out in front, it's going to be up, your hand position is going to be underneath, and it's going to be an elevated pitch. I struggled with the changeup a lot over my career. I wound up throwing a split finger, but very similar to that, you have to go out in front and you have to finish the pitch off. Fellas, back to you.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. And a great point about getting out in front and finishing that pitch.
It is. And you know, Jim Hickey talked about that. The one thing that really stood out to me, what Hick was talking about, was the mindset. The mindset is fastball. That's how you get that arm speed, you know, that Doug was talking about. Keeping that arm speed is you're thinking fastball the entire way. And if you look at a pitcher's hands, yeah, right here, these two guys, that's your power fingers. And that's why with fastball, and Jim Hickey was showing that four-seam grip, you keep the fingers behind it, the power. That's the fastball, and that's where you really power that pitch towards home plate. A changeup is nothing more than getting those power fingers out from behind the baseball. And that's why you move them over, and all of a sudden you have these two in the middle, the index finger off to the side. Now the power fingers are no longer behind the baseball, and there's your changeup. And there are many different versions. You know, Doug said he struggled with this one, but then he went to the split. Well, guess what? With the split, my power fingers are not behind the baseball. They're on the sides of the baseball. So it's the same principle. Get those power babies out from behind the baseball, whatever grip. You know, sometimes you go to a three-prong grip. You know, a lot of the younger kids, a grip like that would work, where you've got, you know, middle finger in the middle of the baseball, and then ring finger, you know, little three-prong. Whatever it is, get the two power fingers out from behind the baseball and throw the pitch with a fastball mentality.
Great advice, I'll tell you. And we've seen through the years the Rays pitchers utilize that changeup maybe as well as any staff in the game.
And with a lot of different grips. You know, think about Cobb Odorizzi, split change. You think about Shields, traditional change. You think about David Price when he had a traditional change. You know, Matt Andriese has a unique changeup grip, which allows him to change, you know, the way that the ball actually fades or breaks.
Bradley Jr. has struck out Leon with a 2-2 count and a roller to third. Longoria with time with a catcher running, and a very nice play here. Longoria throws out Leon for the second out. Well, let's go back to that changeup and some of the grips we're talking about.
Well, this is the one that Jim Hickey kind of talking about, your traditional changeup grip. That ball just doesn't get there. A little fade at the end. You see how just guys, you know, just fooled by it. They're fooled by the arm speed, and that's what caused them to get out in front. Well, then here you go, power fingers on the side of the baseball. Another version of the changeup. Look at this thing fading down and in, a little bite down and in. You know, if you get those fingers even wider than that, then you start to get into the fork ball. Regardless, it's another, you know, version of a changeup.
Walk hold up the middle, and Duffy's there to make the play behind the second base bag to get hold. Bottom of the fourth coming up. 2-3 for Matt Andriese against the Red Sox, and the Rays come in to hit against Rick Porcello in the home half of the fourth with Logan Morrison about to lead off. He doubled off the center field wall his first time up and bounces this one foul. It'll be Morrison, Souza Jr., and then Dickerson against Porcello. You know, we're talking about the changeup, and I think one of the important things that Doug Wechter pointed out last inning, talking about that, especially with an eye toward the young pitchers out there, fastball and that changeup is something that you can throw in lieu of trying to throw the breaking ball at an early age. Too young to throw it.
Still developing physically. Most kids don't know how to properly throw those pitches. There's no reason for it. I mean, if you're that, you know, and Jim Hickey even talked about, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, in that range, even older than that. If you can locate a fastball, and I mean really locate, that's the most important thing as a pitcher. To be out there to be able to locate a fastball. You work on that as a young age, and you could throw a fastball in on a hitter and then away. That's probably all you need for a long time. Up, down, and then all of a sudden a changeup, which is still a fastball arm action. That'll take you until the age that you really need to start working on breaking balls.
Yeah, there's a base hit into center field, and Morrison, who came into the game 6 of 16 against Porcello, now 2 for 2 tonight with his leadoff single in the bottom of the fourth inning. Yeah, you really can't stress enough with the stress on arms to young pitchers. Throw the fastball, and maybe the changeup comes along for you. You got plenty of time to throw the breaking ball much later on. Here's Steven Souza Jr. Struck out his first time.
You know, listen, if you're 10, 11, 12 years old and you can spin a ball up there, you're going to have success. But guess what? Is that where you want your success to end? Because that will be the height of your achievements. 10, 11, 12. You'll never make it past that because the arm will never make it past that.
1-1.
You know, you talk to these guys who do the Tommy John surgeries, and they are astounded by the kids nowadays that are getting Tommy Johns at 10, 11, and 12 years old for reasons just like that. Overuse, trying to throw breaking balls too soon, you know, in order to win your league when you're 11.
Yeah, and that's a great time to, number one, have fun with the game, and number two, learn how to play the game. Those are the goals at that point.
Yes, without a doubt. You know, learn the game. There's so many nuances in this game, so many ways to get things done, and to do things properly.
Snap throw to first, back in, standing up. Morrison keeps that foot on the bag.
You know, working on the fundamentals. Throw the ball properly. You know, you go out and watch some of these youth league games, and half the kids aren't actually throwing the ball with the correct mechanics, just playing catch.
Strike called on Souza Jr. On that outside edge, he is out on strikes. One away here with a runner at first.
Well, that little comeback action on the fastball there by Porcello does catch that outside corner.
Corey Dickerson stepping in. Change up there, fading away out of the zone, taken for ball one by Dickerson.
You know, that when you look at Rick Porcello here in this ball game, the changeup has not been very consistent. The breaking ball really hasn't. Really, the only pitch that he's been able to lean on has been the fastball. And I think Rays hitters starting to realize that. That's why they've been able to work him over, at least work that pitch count up a little bit here the last couple of innings. Secondary pitches have not been sharp.
Right back. Now to play, and the count is a ball and 2 strikes. 3-4-0 for Boston. 2-6-0 for the Rays. Rays now 4-7 in the season series against Boston, and 2-3 here against the Red Sox at Tropicana Field. Fly ball left center. Benintendi is right there. It's the second out after the leadoff single. Follow Rays Baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and a lot more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. So Bobby Wilson now, who singled and scored in the 3rd, hits again in the 4th. There's a high curveball out of the zone, 1-0. Wilson would like to see one of those hanging just a little lower.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
What can you do with it?
Ground ball back at 3rd, up the left field line. Morrison digging for 3rd. Montoya will put up the stop sign there on the double by Bobby Wilson. And again, the Rays have a threat, this time with 2 outs. Morrison 3rd, Wilson at 2nd. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
And there's that cutter that Porcello will go with. And that pitch has not particularly been very sharp, very consistent here tonight. And Bobby Wilson able to get a good swing on it and give the Rays a 2-out opportunity here.
There's 7 hits for the Rays tonight. They've all come in the last 3 innings. They've out-hit Boston 7-4, but trailed 3-2. There's a big opportunity. It'll take a 2-out hit to cash it in. And Logan Forsythe up 0 for 2 tonight. Pitch is a strike. Logan came in hitting an even 300 in his career off Porcello over 20 at-bats. Upstairs, 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Rays left men at 2nd and 3rd in the 2nd inning. Left a man at 2nd in the 3rd after scoring their 2 runs. Now 2nd and 3rd in the 4th. A strike at the very top of the zone.
Yeah, slowing everything down there with the curveball, 75 miles an hour. Porcello, when in trouble, has been going with the hard stuff, and here he just floats in the curveball for the 2nd strike.
Ground ball, that's going to be grabbed by Holt at 3rd. Throw to 1st in time. Holt moving to his left, came up with the ball. Fine play by Holt to keep it from going through the hole on the left side. Forsythe out, and the Rays do not score, leaving 2. They trail 3-2.
Yeah, and we're just showing one of the, probably I think in 5 years, if he does retire, will be first ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves it. And that is Juan David Ortiz, Big Papi. And the things that he does great is the timing mechanism. Some people call it a hitch, but it's only a hitch if you're not hitting. When you're hitting and you get that little hitch, it's called the timing mechanism. And what he does great, Dougie, is that he gets that hand down to his knee, but he gets the hands back up in time to get in that power position by his ear, and his plate coverage is outstanding. That's the big thing about Big Papi. We saw him hit a home run already in this game on a breaking pitch on the outer half, and he can reach that ball, keeps the balance of his legs, and then he explodes on the pitch. His is not so much a slice swing like we see with Davis from the Orioles or our own guy Miller. His is a real drive. He literally drives the ball, and he literally squares up outside pitches. When he came over from the Twins, the best thing that happened is the wall, because the wall made him do that hitch and stay in, keep the shoulder in against lefties to try to pepper it or hit it over the wall, and then all of a sudden, boom, there goes that monster just driving the ball. You try to come in, he'll bust you too.
Yeah, when I threw against Papi back in my career, a lot of dents in that wall were from my pitches, Coach Joe. Honestly, when I was trying to go against David Ortiz, I'd have to go down and away if you want to set up just like a lefty. I mean, you got to be on the corner with David Ortiz. If you're leaking over, you see some of the highlights, you're leaking over 2 inches, 3 inches over the plate, that ball is hit to the fence, if not over. So really, you got to be very fine in where you're going with David Ortiz. And with a guy like that, you want to have good misses. You cannot miss. If you're aiming for the outside corner, you cannot miss over the plate. You have to know that you're going to miss away. You're going to throw a ball if you're going to miss on him. If you throw over the plate, that's a souvenir.
Hey, and I'm sure BA, and there we get that ground ball right there. But the home run from earlier is a great example of how great the plate reach is for him. He look at that right there. This isn't a bad pitch. It's an outside backdoor breaking pitch, and he goes out. Look at the balance of the leg, the transfer of the weight, and then again squares it up, boom, and explodes on it. And he was always also, his whole career, 20 years now. And BA, I mean, I definitely will come to you about the lefties, that lefty. I think him and the wall created a good job, and it's a great demonstration for kids to stay in to try to hit it to left center.
Well, listen, Arestas, you get in a batter's stance, you're David Ortiz. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to draw exactly where I'm looking to go.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can go. Okay, I want to get a full plate here.
Yeah, here it is right here. Where are you going now?
Okay, this is where I'm going. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
This is where I'm going to go. I'm going to save myself some pitches.
Right.
I'm going to go right there. I'm going to go right there.
Right there.
Yep. And then I'm going to go ahead and have you clog up the bases at first base.
Well,
I'm not even going to mess around.
Clog up the bases.
And BA,
what did you do to Manny Ramirez, who was hitting behind him then back in the day?
Change-ups.
It's a great way. You got to have a game plan.
I'm glad he does. And the thing that he would do to you, too, a lot of times to mess with your head, he would step out and fix his batting gloves a lot of times.
Every day.
He would do a lot of this, a lot of that.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, that batting glove idea you guys have about, already having it tight.
Yes.
It's not going to work because players that's a psychological thing. You guys know that.
Well, Pedroia's aboard for the third straight time on that ball that got by the mound. And Forsythe trying to backhand it, never could find a handle, and that's going to go as a base hit. So Pedroia with 2 hits and a walk tonight, aboard here with 2 gone in the 5th.
Well, you see it right here, bouncing right up the middle, gets by Andriese, and then right there, Logan Forsythe, that little short hop backhand. These are tougher plays than they look. And you see that ball just kind of rattles around and comes loose. In all seriousness, David Ortiz is the type of hitter when you are going to face him and go against him. My first thing I'm thinking, much like Doug, is the fastball down and away. But guys like him, you've got to stay out of patterns. You've got to stay out of pitching to just one side of the plate. You've got to change eye levels, and you've got to pitch him back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes into those types of sequences. And, oh, by the way, you can have an idea set in stone in your mind. And based on how he reacts to certain pitches, he's going to tell you where you may need to go on the next one. So it's a tough at-bat. It's an at-bat that you've really got to think yourself through, and you've got to bring out the whole arsenal against a guy like that.
Bogart's taking a strike. Man on with 2 gone, a 1-run ball game, top of the 5th. Bogaerts has struck out and popped out to third. Sox had a 3-0 lead. It's now 3-2. Reeves trying to get the final out in the 5th inning and not face Ortiz with men on base. Slow. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And he's got a guy at the plate that he was able to strike out in his first at bat on a pitch that was a full count pitch that was well in the dirt, way low coming out of his hand, and then get a pop up over on the left side of the infield on a ball that was not recognized very well by Bogaerts. Hasn't been a 1-2 count. He's not recognized a lot of Matt Andries's pitches. So you've got a great opportunity here to get out of this inning unscathed. Make a pitch. You still have another one where you can try to expand the zone a little bit, get Bogaerts out of his comfort zone.
Two and two. Five strikeouts tonight for Andriese. Giving up 1 walk, and the Red Sox turned that into a run. Cut and a miss. Bogaerts out of there on strikes. Off speed got him. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-2 Boston. On Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer, celebrating 75 summers of living 4x4ever. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Kevin Kiermaier looking at that first off-speed pitch and shortening on the bat, offering to bunt. That's a strike. Kiermaier, Longoria, and Miller coming up. Bottom of the 5th for the Rays. 1-1 to count. Popper short right. Betts coming in, makes the catch. Kiermaier 1 for 3 in the first out in the home half of the 5th. Evan Longoria. Evan struck out his last time, hit a fly ball to left in the first. Pitch a bit away. Rays dropped last night's game 2-1, trailed by a run, 3-2 this one. And a popper on the third base side for Holt, straddling the line, now fair. And Longoria is out, number 2.
One of the better changeups that Rick Porcello has thrown here tonight. He got Evan out in front just a little bit, compromised the power, got him a little bit out of sync, and that's all it takes. And that's why that pitch is, you know, they call it the great equalizer. You throw that pitch, and all you're trying to do is just, you know, mess up the timing of the hitter, even just by a little bit.
Brad Miller drove in both the runs for the Rays with a double in the third. Takes a pitch on the inside corner for a strike. Ground ball right side. That's Pedroia. And the Rays are up and down 1-2-3. Quick inning in the fifth for Porcello. 3-2 Boston. November 12th, 2015, David Ortiz belting career home run number 500. That fifth inning shot connection. At the time, the Rays lefty Matt Moore. And now David Ortiz, who homered his 30th of the season, came in the first inning. 533 home runs. Pitch is a strike on the inside part of the plate. Betts will follow, and then Bradley. One and one. Right now, Ortiz with 30 home runs, 100 runs batted in, and 40 doubles. And just for good measure, 1 triple. Outside of first base, 1 and 2. Red Sox at 71 and 54. came in tied for first with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are trailing the Angels in Toronto 6-0 in the top of the 6th inning of their game. Big cut and a foul ball. The fastball foul right back. Red Sox have been playing excellent baseball. They won 10 of their last 12. Count is full.
Well, and it's been twofold. You know, we've talked an awful lot about how powerful this lineup is, but the pitching for the Red Sox, the starters specifically, and then of course, you know, they've got to finish it off with the bullpen. Kimbrel, since coming back from the disabled list, has been perfect, and the starters are getting the job done.
Ground ball that's headed through the middle into center. Ortiz with a base hit.
And Dwayne, you know, we kind of put the disclaimer on this a little bit earlier, as far as, you know, young pitchers stick with the fastball, well-located fastball. You know, if you feel the need for a secondary pitch, you go with the changeup. That being said, you start to talk about the breaking balls, the difference between the slider and the curveball. We talked about the power fingers before. Behind the ball, it's a fastball. Take them out from behind the ball, and all of a sudden you've got a changeup. That's why the slider is a harder breaking ball than the curveball. The slider, the power fingers stay behind the baseball all the way till you start to come out here. Then it starts to wrap around at the last minute. You've got the fingers behind it, and all of a sudden you start to wrap it around, and that's why those power fingers staying behind the baseball that long makes it a harder breaking ball than the curveball, where the curveball, as you get up on top and you come back from here, they roll over. Now the power fingers are on top of the baseball as you spin it over this way. Some guys will go with that spike curve too and roll it this way, but those fingers are now on top of the baseball as opposed to behind it and then out over the top of it, and that's why the slider ends up being a harder, shorter breaking ball than typically the curveball.
Yeah, and in that way the curveball becomes more of a finesse pitch than the slider. Splitting the difference between a fastball and the curveball is the slider.
And that's why you get excited about, you know, when Chris Archer's slider is on, he gets curveball depth with that kind of velocity, and that's what makes that pitch elite. Where most guys, it's a shorter, quicker break. You know, the guys with the elite sliders can get a little bit more depth, a little bit bigger break at high velocity. Very, very rare.
And a cut and a miss by Mookie Betts. So he's out on strikes, and I think most pitchers would tell you that to get that depth has a lot to do with the finish when you throw that pitch, and there's a strong physical element to get it to do that.
It's you're right. It's the depth on the pitch. It's the movement, the sink, the life on the fastball. You know, so much has to do with the finish. What happens out in front. You know, how you let it go, your follow through.
Line drive by Bradley Jr. caught by Souza Jr. And back to first goes Ortiz. Line drive sharply hit by Bradley, and Souza right there to grab it. Two gone now. Top half of the 6th. Albert Pujols has hit home run number 584, and that's going to put him on the all-time list at number 10, moving ahead of Mark McGwire. Sandy Leon takes a strike. Hey, speaking of home runs, more news by Gary Sanchez. We see Eddie Romero up in the bullpen. Yankees had a good day. They beat Seattle, and Sanchez continues his power hitting. There's one the other way by Leon, and Dickerson cannot cut it off. Fortunately for the Rays, Ortiz running. He stops at third. Leon goes to second, and when you saw that ball get by Dickerson, was right.
I did not even thinking. You're right. You see Corey Dickerson track that ball into the corner, and it's going to skip by him. There's that changeup with that side swiping slider-like spin, but Leone shoots it the other way. Dickerson to cut it off, and it took a little bit of a bounce on him too, bounding towards the line and by him. But Dwayne, you're absolutely right. Anybody but David Ortiz. Boston probably has a run here, but not so.
So it's Ortiz at third, Leone at second. Brock Holt's going to be the hitter. The Rays talk it over on the mound, and Hickey now departs. Holt retired on a good play in the fourth inning by Duffy at short. And the first pitch is a strike. Andrees gets the count running in his favor. Matt's starting to get close to 90 pitches, 87 right now, and facing what appears to be the most important hitter of the night for him, trying to keep this a one-run ball game. 1-1. You see that the first inning, 24 pitches, and everything else in good order. He's averaged just a little over 15 pitches per inning this year. An excellent number there.
Yes, it is. You know, he has been a guy that wants to go out and collect outs in as few pitches possible. I mean, get ahead and then let me get you out and just move on to the next guy. Very aggressive.
2-1, and what a great attitude to have if you're trying to pitch deep into games. Get guys out. You know, strikeouts are great. You don't have to strike out everybody. The idea is to get people out as quickly as you can. You stay in the game longer.
Yeah.
You help the bullpen. You get a chance to get a decision, maybe a win.
Yeah, I mean, novel concept, isn't it? You help your team.
Well, there's some great pitchers who had that approach.
Yeah. Hey, listen, getting a chance to play with Chuck Finley. And early in his career, he said, I went for the strikeout. I wanted strikeouts. And he said, as I got older and I matured, I realized, no, what I want is outs. And I want to pitch deep into games. And I want to give my team a chance to win. I want to save the bullpen. I want to do what I can to help the team. He said, I wish I would have had that approach much earlier in my career.
There's a strike, and the count's going to go full. He got him. He struck him out, took him to 3-2. Big out by Matt Andrees, leaving two men in scoring position.
Common problem with little kids is what we call drifting, and it's essentially going out to get the ball. And what happens, the biggest portion of what happens is, as soon as kids start to see the ball, they want to go out to get it and hit. And I think the one thing we want to explain to them is whatever they're doing to start their load, the movement they're getting ready to hit, we want to start that early enough so we're letting the ball come to them. Because what happens is as soon as they start to go out to get the ball, they're going to put their body in a bad position. They're going to create their barrel to come out of the zone, and they're not going to be as strong. So one of the things we want to talk about is just making sure our weight stays center. It stays a little bit on the back knee when we start to swing so we avoid the drift going to get the ball.
Hey, listen, this is so important. I really love that Derek Shelton was addressing this because it's one of the things that kids, especially young kids, even, high school, amateur, even into the major leagues do this. The drifting is something, it created a lot of times because you're trying to want to track the ball. You want to go get the ball, especially when you have 2 strikes. You tend to do it because you're trying to protect the plate and you go out there. It kills you. It obviously is a situation where you're going to take away the power. You're bringing the hands with you, so that's why we're calling it drifting. Another mistake that hitters do actually is they'll get the load, but then they'll drift their body in. So it's a kind of a separation drift. You're going, and you're still not really getting enough of power. So what I try to teach kids is the coil setup. You go out, and one of the best that does it is actually Logan Forsythe. You get back, and you get a little bit of a coil. What does that do? It centers you all up, and you come out, boom, and you're exploding, and everything comes at the ball. You track it, coil, set up, then explode. That takes away from any drift. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much on a hitting clinic right there from Derek Shelton to Orestes. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th with Logan Morrison, who is 2 for 2 tonight against Porcello, continuing his run of success against him. Logan Morrison is now 8 of 18 in his career against Porcello. So he draws the start tonight at first base. One-run ball game. The breaking ball missing. 2-1. Porcello just over 90 pitches through 6 tonight. Andres had made 92 pitches. And now it's 3-1 here to Logan Morrison. Strolled behind the mound for Porcello.
Hitters who's had success off of you and a bad count, a 1-run game, thinking to himself, I've got to be careful here. I've got to make a quality pitch.
And a strike. Oh, full count. The Rays pushed him in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings. 29 pitches in the 3rd. And there is strike 3 called. He got the inside corner for strikeout number 7. Our greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, when it comes to winning, the Chicago Cubs, the first team to reach 80 wins this year, on a 22-5 run the last 27. And as we mentioned earlier tonight, a shoulder issue for Chris Tillman. And the Orioles forced to put him on the disabled list. Not good news in Baltimore.
Not at all. And especially when you think about what's going on at the top of the division now, and that's Toronto and Boston, right there neck and neck tied. I mean, it's 1 game, 1 win. The next team wins. They keep staying right there. In Baltimore, who, was looking for starting pitching, has now lost their best, at least for the time being.
Pitch is popped up. Holt down at 3rd takes care of it. The Rays are up and down. 1-2-3. 3-2 Boston through 6.
7th inning. Rays heading out on a road trip after tomorrow's game. They will be in Houston and Boston. When they come back home for the Labor Day weekend series against Toronto, this will be the giveaway item on Sunday, September 4th, courtesy of John Hopkins Medicine. It is the superhero cape socks for kids 14 and under. They actually have a cape on the back of them, guys. Pretty cool colors, too. Now, I know this is demo day, but for me to be able to demo the fact that this cape could flap in the breeze, I would need a lot more speed than I actually possess. But that's the giveaway item, Sunday, September 4th, 888-FAN-RAYS or RaysBaseball.com. Back to you.
Todd is only being modest.
And I completely disagree, because anytime we've asked Todd to pick up the tab, he has moved at a speed to which those would be flapping behind him. There's no question about that. Gone.
He's still the best. Well, the new pitcher for the Rays, Erasmo Ramirez, 6 innings for Matt Andriese. And here's Travis Shaw out in front of the changeup, strike 1. So a 92 pitch performance for Matt Andriese. 3 runs, 7 hits in the 6 innings, 8 strikeouts and a walk. 1-1. Right now, that walk is the difference in the game when Pedroia walked in the 3rd and eventually scored. Two balls and a strike. Ramirez worked an inning and a 3rd Monday. Picks up a strike. Squares the count. And that's going to be a base hit attempt and a great stop and throw by Duffy, and it is a base hit. Well, Duffy, who turned in a good play on Holt back in the 4th, could not get Shaw at first on this one.
Well, you see where he's positioned, almost directly behind second base, ranging to his right. Nice stop, get up, throw. And Travis Shaw moving up the baseline from the left side of the plate. That little advantage helps him out in beating this out.
Andrew Benintendi 0 for 2 tonight. This young outfielder's been red hot offensively and defensively. Came into the game hitting .323. Out of the University of Arkansas. He's been playing A ball and AA ball and got the call to the big leagues.
Fast track.
He just skipped a grade.
That's right.
One and one. That may speak to the educational level at the University of Arkansas. You just get into baseball and skip a grade.
Something to that. You know what? You do a little summer school.
Yeah.
Studying on the side.
Yep.
Put in the extra time and effort. You know, you're allowed to pass go.
1 and 2. You're making great plays in the outfield. You're hitting .300. Why didn't I do this earlier? Benintendi with a runner at first. Nobody out. Ramirez up in the count. Ooh, pretty close. Stayed off the plate. 2 and 2s. Take a look at that.
Try to bury that fastball in the inside corner, and it just a little too far. You see Bobby Wilson tried to catch that out near the webbing and pull it back ever so slightly.
It's back at 3rd. Will be fair. Dickerson's going to have to grab it. Shaw winds up at 3rd. It's a double up the line for Benintendi. And now a major threat. Red Sox left men at 2nd and 3rd in the 6th inning when Holt struck out. Now 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. in the 7th.
And you saw that pitch kind of leak back across the plate. That's what allowed Benintendi to stay inside of it and slice it up the left field line. If that ball gets in, you know, where Erasmo wanted it, that's not going to happen. But that ball leaked across the plate just a little bit, and Benintendi took advantage.
So big trouble for Ramirez with the top of the order stepping in, and Dustin Pedroia. Looks at a pitch down. Pedroia has been on base all 3 times. He has a single, a walk, and a base hit. 2 stolen bases tonight and 2 runs scored. Now he's trying to drive in something. 1-1. Yanni Romero up. There's a chop towards short. There is a tag there. Throw to first. Double play, and Benintendi ran into an out and was tagged and is down on his knees right now and slow in getting up. Benintendi, part of a fortuitous double play for the Rays and not so for Boston.
Well, there's the chop, and he takes off, gets caught a little bit right there, and you could see the stumble. You could see the stumble by Benintendi. This was not very pretty right here. He puts the brakes on, realizes he's in a little bit of trouble, and is going to get tagged. And oh boy, lands very awkwardly on that left leg.
So he's being helped off the field. Well, he has been off to a great start to his major league career, and will leave here. So you hope that that it's not anything severe, but it's very tender, as you can tell there.
Well, as he's trying to get away from the tag of Matt Duffy, watch the awkward landing on the left leg right here.
So now with 2 outs, Shaw remains at third. Xander Bogaerts at the plate. Ball 1. Just a bit down. It's 2-0. 3-9-0 now for Boston. 2-7-0 for the Rays. Ground ball chopped at third, grabbed by Longoria. Nice play coming in, and the throw to first in plenty of time. Rays get out of a big spot. 7th inning stretch. 3-2 Boston.
Reeves, and we're going to continue demoing. And part of demoing, of course, is about kids and kids teaching. And with me is a little 3-year-old that's going to help me out here for a minute. And by the way, you know, he happens to be, his name is Leo. He's my boy. He's been here for a few weeks visiting from Nicaragua. This is Erasmo Ramirez's nephew, Leo. Leo, enséñame cómo tira tío. He's going to show you how Erasmo pitches. That's it. Good job. Way to go, Leo. But the big thing I'm going to talk about with kids, and even the 3 or 4-year-olds, is teaching them for ground balls. One of the ways that you can kind of teach them is to keep their head down and kind of follow the ball the way in. A lot of kids end up lifting up and lifting their heads on ground ball. So if you can just slowly roll it to them, work on the balls of the feet. Remember, we talk a lot about being on the balls of your feet, and follow the ball in. And we use the phrase alligator a lot of time, which is chomping at the ball. So the ball comes in, boom, head down. You're almost pointing at where the ball came from. So the ball came any direction, you point the top of your head, and you know that you're following in, step and row it back to B.A. and Dwayne in the booth. Thanks,
Leo is a natural out there. How about that?
You know what? As Erasmo's nephew, he's as happy as Erasmo.
Yeah.
And he throws strikes, which is a beautiful thing.
One pitch, one strike.
Buena, Leo. Buena, buena.
There you are. It's fun. One out. Dickerson out on the fly ball to right. Bobby Wilson up there with a strike to count. Chris Young in left field now. A swing and a miss. Takes over for Benintendi, who was injured in the top half of the inning. Wilson bounds it out of play. Still an 0-2 count.
Monster truck warming up in the bullpen.
Robbie Rouse Jr. Brad Boxberger up in the Rays bullpen. Pitch is down 1-2. Pitch count for Porcello just over 100 right now. And he gets Wilson. Strikeout number 8. Here's what's coming up on Rays Live. Tomorrow, the pregame show is presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Jake Odorizzi on the hill looking to continue his great run. We'll hear from him, and Orestes will break down Xander Bogaerts, who's doing it all at shortstop on both sides of the ball for the Boston Red Sox. Here's Logan Forsythe. Pitch is a strike. Logan looking for his first hit. 0 for 3 tonight. Misses 1-1. It's popped up. Right side foul. Shaw right there to make the catch. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays, and we head into the 8th. 3-2 Boston. through 7. A 1-run ball game. Boston 3, the Rays 2. It has been a Boston lead throughout the night, 3-0 at one point. Rays scored 2 in the 3rd to make it 3-2. Same score as we go to the 8th, and David Ortiz leads it off. Bouncing this one foul for a strike. Cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. He's hit the only home run of the game. Oldest player in Major League history with a 30-plus home run season at 40 years, 280 days. 1-1. And this season is grand finale. First inning home run that made it 2-0.
Well, it was a breaking ball, and he's able to get extension, lift, and get it out to right center field, giving Boston an early lead. I'll tell you what, though, you've got to give some credit to Matt Andriese. You know, the way that he was able to settle down, you know, after giving up the 2 runs in the 1st, gives up another run in the 3rd, and then all of a sudden the 4th, the 5th, into the 6th inning. Able to continue to be effective, pitch well, give his team a chance to get back in it. So a tip of the hat to Matt Andriese for the nice recovery.
He made 92 pitches in 6 innings. And it's popped up by Ortiz. Shallow center. And Duffy's out there to make the catch. One out in the 8th. Speaking of home runs, we mentioned earlier that Gary Sanchez hit his 9th home run, the young catcher for the Yankees. And he's the 3rd American League player in 100 years with at least 9 home runs in his first 21 games. George Scott and Alvin Davis, the other 2. He had 2 hits today, which moves him just ahead of Bob Musial, 27 hits, and trailing now Joe DiMaggio at 37 and Oscar Azocar with 28 in the Yankee list, most hits in their first 20 games in the big leagues. So he's now 3rd on that list. DiMaggio didn't waste any time, 37 hits. The high pop foul off the bat of Mookie Betts and caught by Bobby Wilson, so 2 gone. You know, Bob Musial, who was 3rd on that list, played on the Yankee team with Babe Ruth, and he spent his whole career playing in the Sun field because Babe didn't want to play in the Sun field, and so in those days Bob Musial did. More on that when we come back. Pitching change coming for the Rays. Brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer. celebrating 75 summers of living for by forever. Buy Kubota. To find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. Buy your Gulf Coast Honda dealers and buy your Southern Chevy dealer. 2 outs, top of the 8th from Tropicana Field. Eddie Romero, the new pitcher for the Rays, their 3rd of the night. He's facing Jackie Bradley Jr. The pitch is a ball. 40th appearance for Eddie. Comes in 1-0 with a .498 earned run mark. Pitch wide, 2-0. So wrap up that Bob Musial story. Babe Ruth didn't like to play in the sun field. You think of him as always playing right field, but he played left a lot when right field was the sun field. Didn't like looking into the sun, trying to catch fly balls. And so he and Bob Musial would flip-flop, depending on which was the sun field. So the Babe never played in the sun field, and Bob Musial spent his entire career playing in the sun field. 2-1 is fouled, and so the count is 2-2. Well, you hit 60 home runs.
Hey.
You know, you play left or right.
Hey, we told you it would be informative.
Yep.
And that's off the beaten path, but that is an interesting story.
I mean, Musial was a great hitter himself, but you spend your whole career staring into the sun. That's a strikeout of Bradley Jr. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and the Rays are down 3-2.
To talk about hand position. I think that's a big key to hitting. And, you know, I like to be in rhythm with the pitcher. Think of it kind of like dancing, which I can't really dance, but if you guys can, you think about, you know, as the pitcher's rocking back and forth or, you know, taking the ball away from his glove, I'm kind of, you know, going along with his beat. He dictates it and I follow. And then, you know, you just want to be on time. So my hands are steadily just barely moving or whatever feels comfortable to you. And then whenever the pitcher goes to release the ball, my hands go back in a good fight position, a big strong position to be able to fire and straight to the baseball, keeping my eye on the ball and on the bat at contact, and then you follow through.
Listen, you know, a few things that he kind of keyed on. One in particular that is cool. You cannot, the hitter cannot create his cadence. He's really, you know, it's the pitcher that has the ball. He's the one that kind of, if he's going to go quick, then you have to be able to get that load a lot quicker. If he's no-mo and he stands there and waits on you, then you got to be more patient. But the key to it is figure out when you're going to end up having your nice rhythm, because it's about rhythm. Baseball is a dance, so to speak. I don't care if you don't know how to dance. You better figure it out, because all baseball players do their own dance. It's the balance, it's the take back, it's all these things mechanically, Dougie, that you got to end up doing in order to time a pitch or throw a pitch.
Absolutely, and I am stunned you have not hit me in the head with that bat tonight. Honestly, pitching, and BA can explain this just as much. Pitching and hitting are so similar, and a lot of it is rhythmic motions. If you watch Eddie Romero in the last inning, his hands break as soon as his leg goes down. It's a timing mechanism for him. Much like O is timing up the pitcher, you're timing up yourself, and your mechanics are all on timing. If your timing is off as a pitcher, you're going to be ahead of yourself. Your arm is going to be dragging behind, and that's going to create pitches that are elevated up in the zone. And we all know what pitches elevated up in the zone happen to them.
Muy lejos.
No bueno.
Home run. Back to you guys.
All right, fellas, thank you very much. Again, highly informative and very entertaining in the delivery.
I mean, come on.
Yep.
We've got something going here.
It's been a fun night.
It has.
Kiermaier frustrated after popping out to the shortstop. Now Evan Longoria with a count of 1-0. Cedeno loosening in the bullpen. Well, a one-run game here in the bottom of the 8th. One-run games have been tough for the Rays this year. 8 and 19 in one-run affairs.
Time to turn that around. Actually, you know, let's not make it a one-run affair. Win by 2 or 3. Be done with it.
There's a shot. High and deep to left. Goodbye. Home run for Longoria. That's number 30. And this game is tied. Longoria belts the home run to get the Rays even with Boston for the first time in this game.
You know, the body started a hair early, but Evan did a great job of staying back enough and then unleashing on this ball. This is an off-speed pitch. You understand that excitement in that dugout, but here it is. And watch Evan start, stop. See that, just that little hesitation, keeping the hands back after the foot had come down.
The miss here by Miller, strike 1. So Evan Longoria hits the 30 mark. A 1-1 count. Rays got 2 runs in the 3rd on Brad Miller's 2-run double, and a home run, a solo shot of the 8th by Longoria to tie this game. Inside there, it's 2-2. Evan hit 32 home runs in 13, and 31 in 2011, and 33 his career high came in 09. There's the shot back into deep right. Will it stay in the park? It does. Betts, a step or 2 from the wall, makes the catch on that long one off the bat of Brad Miller. So 2 outs here in the 8th. Longoria's home run has tied it. Oh, what have you got on that?
Well, I tell you, and very similar to our other power hitter, what you're going to see, something that Longo and Miller do very, very well, and I talk a lot with kids, when you're going to hit a baseball, whether it's a fastball, especially with the fastball, is that you have to relax. You have to have relaxed forearms and relaxed hands. And a lot of times you get too tight. The tighter you get, the slower the swing is. You're going to see Longo swing right here. Watch the bottom hand literally kind of loosen up. So if you're loose, then as you're about to swing, that's where the tightness is. That's where the whip and the kind of the explosion happens. Watch him right here. You're going to see, boom, there it is. He kind of loosens it up. He takes, and as B.A. said, he kind of went a little out forward, kept his hands back, and then you explode. In fact, Miller did a little earlier with the double. You're going to see Brad Miller with the top hand. Watch it loosen up. There it is. Boom. It loosens up. Then it triggers. And the key to that, fellas, is the fact that you're not tightening up. If you do anything too tight like that, you hold it. I'm sure it's the same thing with pitching. You're all wound up and tight. You're not going to loose and release the ball. So when you're up there, kids, especially with a fastball, the harder he throws, the lighter you want to be. And as the ball comes light, boom, then you explode and tighten your hand. So that's a big, big thing to remember.
Base hit, shot right back through the middle by Matt Duffy, gliding it past Porcello. The Rays have a 2-out base hit in this tie game. And with that base hit, John Farrell pops out of the dugout. That's going to be it. We'll take a break and be back with a new Boston pitcher.
Lead, gave up a 2-run double to Brad Miller in the third, pitched out of trouble in the fourth, and then he got down to business, and he really got on a good run. The fastball was working early, was able to climb the ladder with that pitch, get some swings and misses, pick up some strikeouts. Until this right here, 1 out in the 8th inning, and a breaking ball that Evan was able to stay back on. Rick Porcello absolutely knew where that pitch was going to end up. Give him a base hit here to Matt Duffy with 2 outs, and he's going to come out of the ball game with this line right here. Didn't walk anybody, 8 strikeouts, but in line, not for the victory, but he could pick up the loss.
123 pitches for Porcello. That's a career high for him. And he gives way to Robbie Ross Jr. against Logan Morrison. Morrison ahead in the count, 2-0. Porcello out, not facing Morrison, against whom he had struggled. Morrison, good numbers against Porcello, and now he faces the lefty. Foul ball back at third. Holt runs out of room. 2-1. A double for Morrison tonight. He greeted Porcello back in the 2nd inning. First pitch of that at bat, he doubled off the center field wall, singled in the 4th, and was caught looking in the 6th. Runner at first. Ziegler still busy in the bullpen. Both Ross and Ziegler pitched in the game last night. Ball 4. Ross gives up the walk to the left-handed bat. And here comes John Farrell, another pitching change coming, and we'll be right back.
After this game, it'll be Rays Line brought to you by Checkers. We'll be talking about Big Papi, historic Big Papi, 100 RBI Big Papi, 30 home run Big Papi, but also our own Longoria with that big home run, and hopefully what will be a
Rays
win.
victory.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Exactly, baby. Let's go. Stay with us right after the show. Back to you, boys.
Wouldn't miss it. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Rays have tied it on the home run by Evan Longoria with 2 outs. They put 2 men on. Duffy's at second, Morrison at first, and Brad Ziegler is the new pitcher. He's on to face Steven Souza Jr. And a long foul going after the first pitch. Well out of play. Strike 1. Ziegler last night worked the 8th inning. Little ground ball headed toward the middle. It cannot be fielded cleanly by Pedroia. Tried to backhand it, and the bases are going to be loaded. Bases loaded now with 2 outs.
But I think even if Pedroia is able to come up with this, there's not going to be a play. Ball wasn't hit that sharply. He's got to go a long way. Not going to get anybody at second. Certainly not going to be able to throw out Souza Jr. The only thing he really does, that ball took a little bounce by Ziegler. He keeps the ball in the infield, which keeps Duffy from scoring. Now the bases are juiced.
Rays 10th hit. Corey Dickerson with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Dickerson 0 for 3 tonight. Ball, no strikes. Dickerson 1 of 3 in his career against Ziegler, and he fouls this one behind Rocco Baldelli and down toward the bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Rays left man at second and third in the second. Left a man at second in the third. Left man at second and third in the fourth. Down and in for a ball. It's 2-1. Now the bases are loaded with 2 outs in the 8th. Pitch down and in, and the count goes to 2-2 on the swing and miss.
Well, you can see with Fox Tracks right there that Ziegler attacking Corey Dickerson down and in. This one just keeps riding in. Corey tries to get to it out over the top of it.
And he strikes him out. Rays leave the bases loaded. They tie it on the home run by Evan Longoria. And at the end of 8, Boston 3 and the Rays 3. The home run, his 30th of the year to tie this game. Xavier Cedeno is pitcher number 4 for the Rays, with Sandy Leon, the switch hitting catcher for the Red Sox, leading off and taking the pitch away. Leon, Holt, and Shaw due up. Nothing. Alex Colomé in the Rays bullpen. Action in the Red Sox bullpen. Greg Kimbrell, who closed out last night's game. There's a strike, 2-1. Back to the track for it, makes the catch. That's out number 1. Brock Holt is due up. Aaron Hill will pinch it for him.
Number 18, Aaron Hill.
So Holt out of the game. Pinch hitter presented by Pinch-A-Penny. Hill 265 on the year, and Kevin Cash comes out of the Rays dugout, and the Rays will go to the pen. Right back in a moment. Is right here in bobblehead form, available to fans when the Rays take on the Blue Jays Saturday, September 3rd. Make sure to grab your fan vote favorite bobblehead, presented by GTE Financial. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Alex Colomé on with 1 out and the base is empty in the 9th inning. The pinch hitter Hill, Aaron Hill, takes the ball. Colomé worked an inning last night, gave up a walk, no runs. Strike call. Rays had trailed since the 3rd hitter of the game. 2-0, then 3-0. They scored 2 in the 3rd, got a run in the 8th to tie it.
And all the while, Matt Andriese and the Rays bullpen have been able to shut down this very powerful Boston offense to allow that comeback to take place. And here Alex Colomé trying to polish off what's left of this 9th inning, giving the Rays a chance to walk this thing off.
Foul out of play. 2-2. Played third base in the first game of this series. 0 for 3 with a walk. And is out on strikes, pinch hitting in the 9th inning tonight. 10 strikeouts now for Rays pitching, 8 by Matt Andriese tonight. Yenny Romero struck out the only man he faced. Now Alex Colomé striking out the first man he faces. 10 strikeouts for Rays pitchers. Visit CanesStrikeout.com for a printed home voucher and go to Canes Furniture within 7 days and receive a coupon for a free shorty hoagie of your choice from Wawa. And Shaw hits a towering fly ball, not too deep to right. Souza Jr. toward the line, making the catch. We're going to go into the bottom of the 9th. The Rays will have Bobby Wilson due to lead off, followed by Forsythe and Kiermaier. Tied 3-3. The Rays will have Bobby Wilson to lead it off. Brad Ziegler, who got the final out after giving up a base hit in the 8th inning, still out there for Boston. Aaron Hill stays on to play third base. Well, Bobby Wilson 2 for 3 tonight. First pitch is outside. Wilson singled and scored in the 3rd. He doubled in the 4th. Two balls and nothing. And right back through the middle, base hit for Bobby Wilson. A 3-hit night for the Rays catcher. The Rays put the leadoff man aboard here in the 9th inning.
Well, Brad Ziegler falls behind, forced to come a little bit higher up into the zone, and Bobby Wilson just uses the middle of the field, swinging a hot bat here tonight, seeing the ball well, and he gives the Rays a leadoff runner here in the bottom of the 9th inning and lifted for a pinch runner.
Mikey Matuk takes over at first as the runner. Well, there's a great start for the Rays. They put the leadoff man on base and get the leadoff hitter Logan Forsythe to the plate. There's a ball, 1-0. The Rays and the Red Sox tied in the ninth here, 3-3. The Angels lead the Blue Jays in the bottom of the eighth in Toronto, 8-0. One. Forsythe faced Ziegler last night. Was called out on strikes. Chopper foul, 1-2. Kevin Kiermaier on deck. Two ball, two strike count. Foul ball. Well, you see the pitch from a different angle with Ziegler.
Yeah, gives you a different look, changes speed, sweeps the breaking ball, change up, fastball. Right now with Logan Forsythe, he's trying to stay down in the zone. He wants a ground ball, something that maybe they can try and turn for a double play. As you see, Fox tracks everything down.
Again, a chopper foul. He's got the leadoff base hit from Bobby Wilson. Single into center. Mikey Ma took pinch running for him. 2-2 again, and again it's bounce foul third base side. So a battle here ensuing between Ziegler and Forsythe. 7 pitches in.
Logan would like something a little bit further away where he can extend, you know, maybe use the middle of the field like Bobby Wilson did. Ziegler trying to keep that thing in close to him. If he's going to go away, he's got to be way down.
And a foul off his foot that time.
Yeah, he hammered that ball off himself, and he's trying not to show it, but there's no way that felt good. Just continues to come in with that little two-seamer and whack.
Right off the front shin.
So he's got that padding and don't know how far it goes up the pant leg. By his reaction, maybe far enough.
Now the count is full. A 9-pitch at bat here by Logan Forsythe with a man at first. Nobody out. Runner goes, a little number first base side. And the Rays get the runner up to second on the little ground ball. Shaw handled it. So the battle there, and the Rays do get a man up to second. Kevin Kiermaier is due, and here comes John Farrell for another pitching change. This game is in the bottom of the ninth. The Rays and the Red Sox are tied 3-3. Kevin Kiermaier due up here for the Rays. Craig Kimbrell will get the call from the Boston bullpen after picking up a save working the ninth inning last night.
Well, you can tell that John Farrell really wants this game after his team had a 3-run lead, and it has slowly seeped away. The Rays tied and poised now to try to end this thing. Runner in scoring position, that would be Mikey Mott. Took one out here, bottom of 9.
Kiermaier singled and scored in the third. So he's 1 for 4 and on against Kimbrell. And the pitch called a strike on the outside part. Kimbrell faced Miller, Schaefer, Morrison, and Souza Jr. last night. And the foul ball back. Fastball up with a little something behind it.
Well, Kevin Kiermaier with a quick swing, trying to match that 98-mile-an-hour velocity, able to foul it straight back. But he finds himself down 0-2 when Kimbrell has that devastating combination, the hard, sharp breaking ball, and of course the high-octane heat.
Upstairs. A ball, 2 strikes. Well, the Rays trying to walk it off tonight in a tie game, bottom of the ninth. Evan Longoria on deck. And they'll do it against a very good one if they do. They've had 2 walk-off wins this year. And it's a 2-2 count. Kirk Casale had a base hit at the end of April in the bottom of the ninth to win a game for the Rays. That was on April 30th. Middle of June, Morrison had a walk against Seattle in the 13th that gave the Rays a win. 2-2 the count. And now it's 3-2. Cello started, worked 7 2/3, made a career high 123 pitches tonight, charged with all 3 runs. Ross Jr., Ziegler, and now Kimbrel following the Boston starter. 3-2 to Kiermaier. And strike 3 call. Kiermaier on the breaking ball, caught looking. Kimbrel gets the big out, number 2 here on this pitch.
Well, pick your poison. Yeah, he jumped out ahead. Promptly, Kiermaier works it full, and then that breaking ball, nasty.
Now here's Evan Longoria. Into the dirt, and it's blocked by Leon. Evans' 30th home run of the year in the 8th inning tied this game. A blast to left center field off the Porcello breaking ball. And now with a man at second and 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, he faces Craig Kimbrel, the Boston closer. Evan won at bat against Kimbrel. He is 1 for 1 against him. Takes that one for a strike. 1-1 to count. Mikey Mautook running for Wilson. He was lifted after opening the inning with a base hit. Evans shoots it foul behind Rocco Baldelli toward the bullpen. 1-2. 2 pitch. He did not go. There's Conroy down at first, indicating Longoria checked in time. Close.
Very.
Boy, right out there, very close.
Into that gray area.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. A runner at second. Upstairs. The count is full. High octane up out of the zone. It's Brad Miller on deck.
And you've got to be able to cover. I mean, you got to, you don't want to get beat by that fastball, but that breaking ball, you saw how devastating it could be to Kevin Kiermaier. And right now, I'm thinking breaking ball.
3-2. Strike 3. Got the fastball on the outside corner.
They got struck out too.
Longoria caught looking away. Here's another look. The Rays leave a man at second. And this game goes into extra innings, tied at 3. Boston opened the scoring tonight on a 2-run first inning home run from David Ortiz, the 30th of the season for Ortiz. It was 3-0 when Brad Miller doubled home. 2 runs in the 3rd. The Rays finally tied this game in the 8th on the 30th home run of the year from Evan Longoria. We're going to go into extra innings. 10th inning tied 3-3, and Chris Young will face Alex Colomé. Young in the game because of the injury to the young outfielder Benintendi. Most of Young's action against lefties this year. Strike. 1-1. Benintendi left with what they referenced as a left knee sprain, and they'll get further evaluations tomorrow. Two. Colomé got Hill on strikes in the 9th, and then Shaw on a fly ball to right. He's ahead of Young. 2-2. Rays 2-2 in extra innings this year. Boston 6-2. Miss for strike 3.
Boy, I'll tell you, when Alex Colomé is able to locate that fastball, that mid-90s fastball that he's able to hide so well, look at him stay behind it and drive it to its spot. And when he gets it in there around the belt, you just don't have much of a chance. It's got so much jump on it, life on it, and so well located, it ties you up. The best you can do there really is to hope to foul it off. You're not going to be able to drive that pitch.
Dustin Pedroia. He's been on base 3 times again tonight. He was on 3 times here Monday. Had a double last night. 2 singles and a walk tonight. Lines it into right. Susie Jr.'s there to make the catch. Lines the fastball to right for out number 2. And it's Xander Bogaerts coming to the plate.
Shortstop,
Bogaerts, you see right there, 4 of 10 against Colomé with a couple doubles in his career. And you'd really love to get him and keep Ortiz from hitting in the 10th. Bogaerts 0 for 4 tonight. Fly ball center field. Kiermaier will go back and catch it. And it's a 1-2-3 10th. When we go to the bottom of the 10th, Brad Miller will lead it off for the Rays with the game tied at 3. Extra innings presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Rays in their 5th extra inning game of the year. Moving into the bottom of the 10th, they'll see the right-hander Heath Hembree. 2/3 of an inning for Kimbrel with a couple strikeouts. Now Hembree.
On for the 30th time. 39 2/3 innings, 36 strikeouts. He's going to feature the fastball, curveball, and a slider to the right-handed hitters. Fastball, curveball, slider. Will mix in an occasional changeup to the lefties.
Brad Miller will lead off. Duffy next. And then Morrison due up. Well, the Rays left the bases loaded in the 8th. They left a man at second in the 9th. So another shot right here. And a high foul that's going to be out of play. Up the right field side. Strike one. Miller's double in the 3rd. Producing 2 runs. 62 runs batted in for Brad Miller. The mid of Leon to the backstop. 1-1. Hembree on the mound. Brad Boxberger loosening in the bullpen for the Rays in case this game continues. 1-2. Rays won a 10-inning game this year. Their first extra inning game was at Fenway back on the 19th of April, and they won that game 3-0 in 10 innings. A 2-2 count to Miller. Chop, that will be a foul ball. Rolling back of the first base bag. This is the first time Hembree has been in this game. Duffy back to talk with the Rays hitting coach Derek Shelton there. Duffy due next. And a full count now.
This is where you start to think about Hembree having to come out over the plate. Doesn't want to walk to lead off the inning. Something out over the plate, maybe something that Brad Miller can drive.
(3-2). Miller with a shot back at first, scoop by Shaw, and the play at first close, out the call. Hembree got over there. Miller tried to get in there head first. And a close play. The Rays might want to, well, we'll see what they can do with the first base umpire Chris Conroy down here.
I thought Travis Shaw was going to take this himself. Boy, it got to him quick enough. Now he scrambles and immediately looks to pitch it. Boy, that was close. Who got there? And it certainly looked like Hembree, just a hair.
So Miller's out. Shaw to Hembree. First out here. Shaw guarding the line was in the right place with the left-handed hitter up there. And now the right-handed bat of Matt Duffy.
Yeah, that was something that we were going to get into a little bit earlier in the game, but that's the other side benefit, if you will, of the shift. You know, when you bring that shortstop behind second base or on the other side, move the second baseman in the hole maybe a little deeper, it allows the first baseman to play right on the line. So not only do you have 3 defenders on the right side, but you take away anything up the line too.
On the outside edge, 0-2. Kimbrey had gone all the way out 3-2 on Miller, but he jumps ahead quickly on Duffy. Shoots the outside corner and just missed. I mean, just missed. Down and away with the slider, 2-2. It's Logan Morrison on deck. Duffy got a little piece of that one. Another slider. Bottom of the 9th in Toronto with the Angels leading the Blue Jays 8-1. Rays and the Red Sox tied 3-3, bottom of the 10th here. Shot to center field. Bradley Jr. makes the catch. 2 gone. Red Sox and the Blue Jays started the day tied for first in the AL East with identical records of 71 and 54. Here's Logan Morrison. Morrison has been on 3 times tonight with a double, a base hit, and a walk. He struck out looking in the 6th. Sends a fly ball into center. Bradley is there waiting, and it's a 1-2-3 10th inning. On to the 11th we go. Still tied at 3. Rays and the Red Sox will wrap up the series tomorrow with Jake Odorizzi on the hill for the Rays. And boy, has he been great since the All-Star break, leading the American League and ranking 2nd in the majors with a 164 earned run average. We'll be with you at 12:30 tomorrow. Drew Pomerantz will make the start for Boston. Rays and the Red Sox wrapping up the series, and for the Rays, the final game of the homestand. New pitcher, Brad Boxberger.
Well, tied up. We head to the top of the 11th. Brad Boxberger on for the 11th time. 9 2/3 innings of work, and he's going to cut right through the heart of this Red Sox lineup.
David Ortiz will open the 11th. Betts and then Bradley will follow. Boxberger's pitch and a big cut and a miss by Ortiz. Strike one. Ortiz homered in the first, his 30th home run. Upstairs, 30 homers and 100 runs batted in. There have been a couple players come close to going 30 homers, 100 RBIs to wrap up a career. He's the only guy. Foul back 1 and 2. Dave Kingman back in '86 hit 35 home runs. Drove in 94. And in 2000, Albert Bell had 103 runs batted in, 23 home runs. Two and two. Ortiz out on strikes. Boxberger takes care of him for out number 1. And that gives Ortiz 0 for 6 in his career against Boxberger.
Just climbs the ladder and overpowers him. Fastball tracking up just above the swing of David Ortiz for out number 1, and that is a biggie.
Mookie Betts. A couple of hits and a run batted in. 2 for 4 night. Ball 1. Betts driving in a run in the 3rd, picking up his 90th run batted in of the year. The pitch in, 2-0. Boxberger working an inning last night, picking up a couple of strikeouts and issuing a walk. Well, now it's 3 balls, no strikes.
You got to be careful here. Mookie Betts, he's had a tremendous season so far. You know he's got a 3-0 green light, so you've got to still make a pitch.
And that's ball 4. Betts, a 4-pitch walk. Only the 2nd walk issued by Rays pitching. Only the 3rd walk we've had all night. Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. Starts and stops. There's a strike at the knees. That's the other thing about Betts. He can and will run.
This Boston offense has been very quiet since the 3rd inning when they plated their 3rd run. And so, John Farrell, you're right. He may be looking to try to create something here because they've not been able to do anything by just sitting back and swinging the bat, something that they're very used to doing.
That's a strike at the knees. Quickly ahead of Bradley Jr. 1 on, 1 out, 2 strikes the count. Bradley Jr. pops it up. Foul ball back. Luke Maile to the screen and will not have a play. Ball just on the other side of the screen.
They may have gotten the gentleman down there in the black shirt with the backwards hat. No, not them. They may have ended up with it after it went off of.
Yeah, just a deflection.
He's in the front row. Here he's in the front row. He gets up, looking to make a play. Can't find it. Looks away, and then wears it. Takes a little sidestep, and then back to his seat.
Runner goes. Big jump and a foul ball off the throwing hand of Maile. Boy, a great jump by Betts. And Bradley got Maile on the right hand.
And it was a changeup, and Bradley Jr. just able to get it. And that ball, oh boy, yeah, comes right back over there, over the glove, right into the fingers. Well, now you take some time, and I'll tell you what, if you're thinking about running before, and the catcher just took a foul tip off of his throwing hand. Keep your eye on Betts.
Betts picked up a steal in the first game of this series. 20 of 23 on the year. Over to first. Back in. And the Rays taking some time after that foul ball off the throwing hand of Luke Maile. And now a conference, and now a toss to first.
Let me get that feeling back. Betts is getting a pretty big lead, too.
No go, and this one pulled down the line, foul, out of play. And apparently the best strategy is just to stand up in your seat and turn around and have it bounce to you.
Yeah, after it was missed, there were a couple other people that had a legit shot.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, and there will be no throw.
Yeah, that's one of those swings too. That jump by Mookie Betts was huge. They weren't going to throw him out. It didn't matter. And then you get a ball that's, I mean, a foot off the plate. Watch the jump. I mean, it's almost a running. I mean, he's gone. And Jackie Bradley Jr. punches out for the 4th time on a pitch nowhere near the zone.
Sandy Leon. He has a double tonight in 4 at bats. First pitch is a strike. Boston tonight 2 of 5 with men in scoring position. The Rays have gone 2 of 10. Leon waves and misses. 0-2. Walk to Betts. He's at second with 2 outs after the steal. The 0-2, and Leon lays off the pitch upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Harper back a third, foul. We got bad out there, just making contact.
You get a guy leaning like that on an off-speed pitch, and then you start to think about strike two. The fastball above the hands in. He tied him up with a swing and miss previously in this at bat, and he's got him set up for that pitch again.
Boxberger, the 6th Rays pitcher tonight. And the 1-2. He got it. Struck him out with a fastball. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Boxberger. Steven Souza Jr. Extra innings presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Brent Boxberger striking out the side and walking a man in the 11th. Bottom of the 11th inning coming, and Steven Souza Jr. will lead off for the Rays in this 3-3 ball game. Heath Hembree worked a 1-2-3-10th, starts the 11th, and a shot into center field sends Bradley Jr. back, and he makes the catch right in front of the track. So that's 1 out, 1 pitch, 1 out in the 11th for the Rays. Corey Dickerson. Dickerson one official at bat here against Hembree. It's Jepson up in the Rays bullpen. It's a strike. Dickerson 0 for 4 tonight. Lifts it to the left side. Young in from left field. So 2 outs, 2 quick outs.
I mean, who's gonna get it done? And very little movement in this ball game outside of Evans' home run in the 8th inning.
Yeah, Rays loaded the bases after that home run, but left them that way. And we're in the 11th inning, still at 3-3. 2 outs, bases empty. Luke Mailey's first trip to the plate. He takes a strike. Luke took over in the 10th inning. down, 1-1 the count. Two balls and a strike. Bobby Wilson started tonight behind the plate for the Rays. Had a 3-hit night. In fact, opened the bottom of the ninth with a base hit. Was lifted for the pinch runner. And the Rays left a man on. Two and two now. A shot up the right side. That's going to be a fair ball into the corner, and Mailey's going to get 2 bases on this one. So suddenly, with 2 outs, the Rays have a man at second base and the top of the order coming up. How about Luke Mailey picking up his 4th double of the year?
Henry was able to overpower him with the fastball middle in. Then he goes away, and that gives Mailey a chance. You see, he's a little bit tardy on that fastball, but regardless, it's away, and he shoots it up the line. A few feet fair into the corner, and now the Rays have a real chance to end this thing.
Mailey with that 2-base hit, suddenly giving the Rays some life here in the bottom of the 11th and a chance to end it. Logan Forsythe looking for his first hit of the game. Pitch is outside. Logan had an extended at bat in the 9th inning and grounded out to first, which at the time sent the pinch runner Mikey Matuk up to second. He was there with 1 out, and the Rays left him there. Foul ball back. The count is 1-1. Slider out over the plate right there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Logan had a good swing at it. I'll tell you, he's
kind of got excited for just a moment there when he swung the bat.
As soon as that ball left Henry's hand, you knew that it was going to be a hittable pitch. You're hoping for another one.
1-1 the count. Upstairs. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, this is one of the guys in this type of situation that you want at the plate. No question about it. Solid approach, fundamentally sound, uses the middle of the field.
Upstairs. 3-1. Kiermaier on deck. There's Luke Mailey with a 2-out double. Oh, up and in, and Forsythe is walked. A breaking ball there that stayed up and in. So with 2 men on, 2 men out, Kevin Kiermaier is going to get a chance to end it. He singled back in the 3rd, scored a run. 1 for 5 on the night. He has 1 official at bat against Hemry, 0 for 1 in his career. Now he faces him in the 11th inning tonight. Up and away, and a throw back to second. Nobody on the bag, back of the bag. Bogarts came up with the throw.
And aggressive secondary lead, and I'm not sure. Sandy Leon, listen, he hasn't thrown behind somebody in a while. And he got the itchy trigger finger. He just threw that to the bag, hoping that someone would show up.
The ball, no strikes to Kiermaier. There's a strike. 1-1. Kiermaier in the 9th inning faced Craig Kimbrell, and Kimbrell got him looking on a 3-2 breaking ball. That was with Matuk at second. Ground ball right side, picked up by Shaw. Close play, the ball loose. And here comes a man trying to score. Throw. Oh, he's safe at the plate. He got in there, the ball got loose, and the Rays win it. It appeared they might get Maile, but the ball popped away, and the Rays win it 4-3 in 11 innings. Kiermaier forcing the issue at first, and on the recovery and the throw to the plate, the Rays come away with a run and the victory.
Well, you know that with Kiermaier going up the line, you don't have a lot of time. And so you see Travis Shaw charging that ground ball, trying to get around it and shovel to Hembree. Absolutely, everything's got to happen quick. Hembree drops it, ball gets away, turn and fire. See how quickly everything happens? And Hembree loses sight of the baseball as he tries to find the bag. Turn, throw, got a chance here, but the ball comes loose.
Now there's Maile, actually pulled up at third, and then when the ball was loose, headed to the plate. And the Rays come away with a victory tonight in 11 innings, and what a finish this one turned out to be, as the Rays pick up the victory over the Boston Red Sox. Tom Callis standing by on the field right now.
All right, with the guy who had the base hit to end it. Take us through that last play. Ball up the line. Obviously, with your speed, you're going to give it a shot. What'd you see?
He threw me a slider right there, and I figured they were going to go some kind of off speed. They've been doing that to me all night tonight, and just trying to do something right there and just trying to get down the line hard. And, you know, anytime I go out here and try to show off my speed, it puts the pressure on the defense. So right there is the pitcher. And, you know, it ended up working out for us. I'm glad it kicked away from him a little bit. Great job to Luke Maile for running the bases. Great right there. That was awesome. And it feels good to get out here as soon as possible, because we got a day game tomorrow, and none of us are trying to play 15, 16 innings. So I'm just happy to see us get a win tonight, and it was big for us.
When did you see Luke coming down the line?
I turned around because I saw it kick away from him, so I'm telling him to go. And, you know, credit to Luke. Like, you know, he didn't start in the game, and he was ready to go. Big double right there for us, and, you know, he's a gamer. So
there you are, sending him.
I'm waving him home. I'm telling him to get there, and, you know, he runs well for a catcher. So I'm just so happy to see us get a win. So it's awesome.
We saw a couple of 30th home runs today, the one from Poppy and then the big one from Evan to tie the game. That was a big spot because Porcello was really tough against you guys, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did well mixing and matching all his pitches. And, you know, he had a soft bounce and a lot of weak contact. But Longo just doing Longo things and coming up clutch for us right there is awesome. And, you know, it's just a great team win versus a great team over there. And this is a sweet victory.
Yeah, back-to-back winning homestands now. You're 6-3 with a game tomorrow. You won the last homestand, a winning record, 6-4. Feel like you're playing better baseball as a group at home lately?
Yeah, we have been. And, you know, the thing for us is, we said all year, we feed off our starting pitchers, and they've been great lately the past month or so. And, you know, that feeds into us in the offense. And, you know, as long as they keep us in the games, if we can get some big hits here and there, that's key for us. But our pitching's been great. And, you know, a couple big hits here and there have won us some games. So thrilled with it, and you know, we're just trying to build off anything we can.
I know it's a quick turnaround, so go enjoy, KK. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, well, the Rays win it. A walk-off on the error charge to the pitcher, Hembree, for dropping the ball. 4-12-0 for the Rays with 11 left, 3-9-1, 6 left for Boston. Boxberger, the winner, 2-0. Hembree, the loser, 4-1. Took 3 hours and 41 minutes to play it before 11,896. We'll be with you tomorrow, beginning at 12:30. For Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and the rest of our crew. Dwayne Stats, great to have you with us. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast. Rays winners tonight at 11.